from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Good evening and welcome to the National News broadcast, bringing to you live from the National News Studios here at the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. We're ready to bring you the top stories here at home and around the world. I'm Charita Minipurarachi, together with Dulanjali Anand. The 22nd Constitutional Amendment Draft Bill to be submitted to Parliament. The Minister of Justice says the 22nd revision has been presented to safeguard future of the country. The Colombo Stock Exchange growth continues for the third day. The concessionary charging scheme for low-income electricity consumers will come into effect from next week. A crude oil ship to arrive in the island on the 13th. Kerosene needs to be provided continuously from the 19th. Many tents in the Goldface protest site have been removed. Another virus from China. Arjuna Ranatunga appointed as new chairman of the National Sports Council.
For those and other stories in detail. The 22nd Constitutional Amendment Draft Bill to be submitted to Parliament was presented at the Parliament by Minister of Justice Vijayadas Rajapaksa.
And opinions have been expressed in Parliament today regarding the President's speech at the inauguration session of the 9th Parliament and also on new constitutional revisions. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena said that it has been pointed out that economic modernization program based on export-oriented economy should have to be carried forward without causing a crisis in the country. He added that the present government is already engaged in the process of planning the necessary reports. He further said that the country must embark upon the constitutional reforms based on these factors. The first intrusion on this regard is in the 22nd Constitutional Amendment, which was presented in Parliament this morning. The Prime Minister has requested to enlighten the opposition regarding the revision and to receive their cooperation. He added that discussions in this regard were conducted with all political parties recently. This has emerged the need to enter into other fields as well. Economic reforms will have to be fulfilled by giving way to constitutional and administrative reforms. The President will make a declaration on strengthening the committee stage system in Parliament. He added that the discussions are already underway to alter certain parliamentary standing orders. This will enable all 225 members in Parliament to enter into the process of democracy. Parliamentarian Gayantha Karunathilaka said that they have also been isolated from the people. Even if the 225 members of the Parliament extended their hands of friendship, the people may not accept them and the ultimate outcome would be the break of confidence of the people on Parliament. There is no place for attractive speeches only.
මේ සභාව තුළ ඉදිරිපත් කරන ආකර්ශනීය කතාවලට පැවැත්ම තිබෙන්නේ ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදී දේශපාලන ක්‍රමය තුළ ජනසම්මතවාදී මැතිවරණයකට මුහුණ දෙන පමණයි කියලා මම කල්පනා කරනවා නියෝජ්‍ය කතානායකතුමනි.
Minister Nimal Siripal De Silva has recalled that other than the fuel problem, all other problems including gas and fertilizer have been resolved. Even 75% of the fuel crisis has also been resolved. The cost of living is coming down gradually. Local production is coming up. The country's direction towards prosperity under the present president is extremely clear. There is no need to drag by the foot. All must join hands in the development process. Parliamentarian Tissa Attanayaka said that people at this moment want a national program and not interested in sharing of ministerial portfolios by parliamentarians.
සම්පූර්ණයෙන් අපේ සහයෝගය දෙනවා කියලා අපි කිව්වේ. දැන් 22 වෙනි සංශෝධනය ඇවිල්ලා තිබෙනවා. ඒ ගැන අපි සතුටුයි. අපි ඒකට සහයෝගය තිබෙනවා. ඒකේ අඩුපාඩුකම් ටික හදාගන්න අපිට තිබෙනවා. විශේෂයෙන්ම මේ යෝජනා අපි ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා. සර්වපාක්ෂික ආණ්ඩුව කියලා කියන එක.
Parliamentarian Dalasalaha Peruma said that it is a national crime to use the name all-party government in order to fulfill personal needs. The people are suffering immensely.
මේ රටේ මිනිස්සු පීඩාවෙන් පෙළෙන වෙලාවක
Now, opposition leader Sajith Premadasa has raised a question on the privileges given to parliamentarians in Parliament today. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena has responded to this query. Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa said that when a question is being asked on the violence perpetrated during the 52nd day conspiracy, the cabinet spokesman says the issue does not come under the Common Property Act.
ඒක තීන්දුව කරන්නේ ඔබතුමාලු. ඒකේ වළංගු භාවය. ඉතින් මේකෙන් වැරදි පණිවිඩයක් රටට යනවා. මේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුව ඇතුළේ එක නීතියක් තියෙනවා. රටේ ජනතාවට තවත් නීතියක් තියෙනවා කියන එක. මම කැබිනට් ප්‍රකාශක
Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena said that as cabinet spokesman he has to say that no repression has taken place. He also said that the government appreciates agitations but does not allow acts of barbarism. The present agitation has added a black spot in the history of the country. The parliamentarians have special privileges. An MP cannot be arrested while arriving in parliament. They have many more special privileges.
And meanwhile, Minister Vijayadas Rajapaksa says that in order to consolidate tomorrow's protection in the country, the 22nd constitutional amendment has been presented to the parliament. He was addressing a media briefing in Colombo today. Minister Vijayadas Rajapaksa said that strong criticism has been levelled against the constitutional reforms, the reason being presenting earlier by the government of an amendment named 22nd in addition to the one submitted parliament today. He added that the accusations were reasonable. The minister further said that the cabinet of ministers had made amendments to the draft bill presenting according to the needs of former president. The objective of carrying out such revisions was to introduce interim regulations for the duration of the 9th parliament. The amendment was intended to hand over powers to president and to remove the cabinet of ministers and even to prime minister without any explanation. However, due to the subsequent political changes in the country, the people could not agree with such temporary provisions. The draft bill presented today has eliminated all such unreasonable interim laws. The people have come across the question whether the country could be moved forward with the existing constitutional amendments. The current document contains all preliminary characteristics of the 19th constitutional amendment. Under the 22nd constitutional revision, the president has the authority only regarding the defence ministry, and that is not an interim provision. Minister Vijayadas Rajapaksa has further stated that they have included and legalized the provisions of the United Nations Charter against corruption. Although the 19th Amendment had prevailed, no enactments or regulations had taken place. Now the anti-corruption draft bill has been prepared. However, further studies are being conducted in this regard within the next few weeks. The cabinet approval has been obtained in this connection. Minister Rajapaksa has further pointed out that with the passing of the bill, it would become possible to appoint a more updated bribery commission in place of the existing commission on bribery or corruption. The minister also said that similarly, they have been abolished the outdated bills of assets and liabilities with the introduction of the new legislation.
ප්‍රතිපාදන මෙහි පවතිනවා 19 වෙනි ව්‍යවස්ථා සංශෝධනය පැවතුණා. ඊට අදාළ නීති සම්පාදනය කිරීමක් සිදු වුණේ නැහැ. මේ වන විට
And meanwhile, the Colombo Stock Exchange has recorded a higher growth continuously for the third day today.
The total share price index has gone up by 206 units and the turnover for the day has exceeded 4.5 billion rupees.
At the end trading today, whole share price index gained 206.17 points to close at 8,706.17. S&P SL 20 also gained 125.09 points to close at the day at 2,928.96. Total turnover of 450.6 billion, which consists of 11.2 billion foreign purchases, and the number of traders for the day is 33,212.
Now, Minister Kanchana Vijayasekara says that the concessionary electricity fare scheme for low-income earners who consume a lower number of units will be implemented from next week.
And meanwhile, several factors have expressed opinions in the increased power charges which were declared yesterday. The Public Utilities Commission has given permission to the Ceylon Electricity Board to increase the electricity bill by 75% with effect from today. National Secretary of the Electricity Consumers Association Chandjiva Dhammika said that the prices increased are not justified. He has questioned whether it is reasonable to increase power bills at a time of heavy rainfall when we are not depending entirely on thermal power.
අද විශේෂයෙන්ම පාරිභෝගිකයෝ දකිනවා හතර දිබ්බාගෙටම වහිනවා වැව් උතුරනවා ජලාශ උතුරනවා වාන්දරට වැරලා මෙවැනි අවස්ථාවක මේ මිල වැඩි කිරීම අවශ්‍යද ඒ නිසා මේ ඩීසල් මතමද මේ යැපෙන්නේ මේ නිදියගෙන ඉඳලා වගේ ඇහැරිලා මේ මිල වැඩි කරන්න කිව්වහම මේ කටයුතු කරන එක ගැන අපි කොමිෂනරට කනගාටුව ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා අපි පාරිභෝගිකයෝ හැටියට
A relief program is to be implemented on behalf of low-income families consuming lower number of units. The Parliament has discussed on this issue today. Parliamentarian Lakshman Kiryala said that people have been elevated to the electricity share. With 75% power increase, people are unable to maintain their livelihoods. Minister Kanchana Vijayasekara said that the CEB has presented a revision of charges enabling consumers of low-income categories who use only a fewer number of electricity units. Last year, the monthly power generation cost has been 23.6 billion rupees, but the revenue was only 1.7 billion rupees. Sri Lanka's monthly power bill is 33 billion rupees. The power cost was cut by 25% due to the introduction of the Norachole thermal power station. Not a single power station was not added since 2014. The minister further said that the cost of production of a single unit of electricity is 48 rupees. And meanwhile, Minister Nalin Fernando says wholesale prices of many commodities in the market have come down.
The reason being the arrival in the market of imported goods which have been ordered through an open account by the Ministry of Trade. The minister has made these observations at a media briefing in Colombo today. Minister Nalin Fernando said that by now imported items have come into the local market and reaching the consumers. The prices of commodities are coming down. The minister added that, however, consumers in rural areas have not yet received the benefits. The wholesale prices of a kilogram of dal, which was at 585 rupees, have now declined to 410 rupees, which means a 175 rupee reduction. There has been decreased between 40 to 45 rupees in the price of a kilogram of rice. The bulk price of a kilo of sugar has been brought down by 25 rupees. The minister further said that they have proven that if goods arrive in the country, they are able to do a price control. Further price reductions could be expected in the next week. He also said that they have restricted the importation of non-essential items. The minister further pointed out that problems have arisen pertaining to the weight of cement, iron, wiring, chicken, eggs, as well as in bread and other wheat flour products. Minister Nalin Fernando added that he has instructed the Consumer Affairs Authority to look into the issue and to take necessary remedies.
Minister Kanchana Vijayasekara says a ship carrying crude oil is scheduled to arrive in the island on the 13th of this month. The Sapugaskanda oil refinery is expected to resume operations with effect from the 15th. Measures have also been taken to continuously provide kerosene from the 19th of this month. Minister Kanchana Vijayasekara said that it has not been possible to fulfill the actual demand for kerosene in the fisheries industry in the recent past. Only limited stocks of kerosene were handed over to selected fisheries harbours throughout the island. The shortage was mainly attributed due to the malfunctioning of the refinery operations. The shortfall in kerosene could be eliminated through the recommencement of the refinery after receiving crude oil on the 13th. The second ship carrying crude oil is scheduled to arrive in the island on the 29th of this month. Therefore, it would become possible to engage in a continuous supply of kerosene from the 19th of this month. The minister also said that a price revision is also scheduled to be conducted in issuing kerosene.
භූමිතෙල් නිෂ්පාදනය වෙන්න ගරු අග්‍රාමාත්‍යතුමත් එක්ක පවත් සාකච්ඡාවත් අපි තීරණය කරේ 19 වෙනිදා ඉඳලා.
Issuance of fuel according to the National Fuel Pass system has been successfully conducted throughout the country. Up to now, 5.6 million 22,000 persons have been registered under the program. The methodology has got underway at filling stations island-wide from the 1st of this month. The second stage of the National Fuel Pass system to issue fuel for each vehicle sufficient for 1 week commenced on the 8th. The long queues that had earlier prevailed at filling stations by now have turned into a minimum level. Many stations are issuing fuel as usual. The police special task force has taken into custody 4 persons who were engaged in illegally transporting nearly 19,000 litres of diesel valued around 8 million rupees. The raid was conducted near to the Hambantota Fisheries Harbour. The general public have expressed their appreciation of reducing the prices of domestic gas cylinders by the Litro Gas Company. The people now have the ability to purchase gas without any obstruction.
Now, the Special Task Force officials have apprehended a lorry carrying fish from the Hambantota Fisheries Harbour, also illegally transporting 18,800 litres of diesel. 4 suspects between the ages of 30 to 45 years have been arrested in this connection, and further investigations handed over to Hambantota Police Station. Now, Parliamentarian Nalin Bandara of the Samag Jana Balavega said at a media briefing today that measures will have to be taken to eliminate inefficiency at the Ceylon Electricity Board.
Parliamentarian Nalin Bandara said that the CEB bears annually an expenditure exceeding 800 billion rupees. Yet the annual revenue is less than 300 billion rupees, which means the institute is incurring a loss of 500 billion rupees. The MP has pointed out that first of all, they have to analyze the massive expenditure. He has pointed out that purchasing of electricity at exorbitant prices, as well as agreements reached regarding thermal power stations, have been revealed at COP committee discussions. The parliamentarian said that they have expenditure have to be curtailed and unfavorable agreements have to be abolished. The country agrees for a far price hike as institutions could not be maintained under the present context. Humanitarian factors will have to be considered in order to increasing the power bill. Many questions have arisen if the recent increase in electricity charges. The MP further said that they have also a position extending their cooperation to minimize fraud and wastage of the CEB and for the continuous power supply of the general public.
Now, only less than 10 tents remain at the golfers' protest site. The Fort Police Station has informed the protesters to remove the provincial tents and camping sites as well as cultivations, and the Attorney General told the courts that the government will not forcefully remove the structures. However, the protesters have agreed by yesterday to withdraw all tents. The library was scheduled to be relocated at the Panadura Paranavatta Bodhi Temple.
And meanwhile, 214 COVID patients have been reported in Sri Lanka in the past 24 hours. The Health Promotion Bureau says 6 COVID-related deaths have also been reported. It has also been pointed out that 80% of those who died due to the affliction of the COVID-19 disease had not taken any dose of the vaccine. Therefore, the government has taken measures to actively engage in immunization of the general public. Inoculation of the 4th Pfizer vaccine to protect from the COVID disease has taken place at the Ratnapura Provincial Council complex today. Accordingly, the dose was inoculated on people in the Ratnapura and Kozhikode districts. Chief Provincial Secretary Sunil Jalath and a group of officials was present on this occasion.
Now, the new media unit of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party was declared open at the party headquarters today. President of the party and former President Maithripala Sirisena has presided over the event. Senior members and electorate organisers of the party were also present at the occasion. President of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, Parliamentarian Maithripala Sirisena said the media is able to make or break governments. The media could portray as an extremely bad as any government, which in fact is an extremely efficient one. In the same manner, media has the ability to show to the world and the people any corrupt or inefficient government as one of the best. The former president has recalled that the same group that led the way to make him a president in the year 2015 through the emergence of a wave of popular support in the end paved the way for their destruction. Now, legendary Indian film star Mammootty is expected to visit Sri Lanka for a film shooting next week. Muhammad Kutti, who is popularly known by the stage name of Mammootty, is termed as Malayalam's superstar. According to reports, the actor will be in Sri Lanka next week for 3 days to shoot a movie which will be filmed in 4 locations, including Kaduganawa in Kandy. Sri Lanka tourism authorities are reportedly providing their necessary support to the film production, while Minister of Tourism Harin Fernando and Sri Lanka Tourism Ambassador, cricket legend Sanath Jayasuriya are also expected to meet him. Superstar Mammootty has now successfully completed 5 decades in the Indian film industry and has been a part of around 400 films during his career.
And meanwhile, the 4th Randoli Perahara of the historic Kandy Asala Festival parades the streets tonight. Tusker Indiraja is carrying the sacred casket of relics. The majestic elephant is accompanied by other elephants Burumaraja and Vijayadas. The fourth Randoli Perahara has commenced at the auspicious time of 7:32 p.m. The Perahara of the Ruhunu Kataragama Mahadevali is also paraded in the streets tonight for the 13th occasion. The final Mahaperahara is scheduled to be conducted tomorrow. The festival comes to an end with a water cutting ceremony on the 12th of this month. Stay tuned for international news after this break.
ඩෙන්ගු රෝගයේදී උණ හිස රදය ඇඟපත වේදනාව ඇති වෙන්න පුළුවන්. උණ අඩු කිරීමට පැරසිටමෝල් ඖෂධය පමණක් භාවිතා කළ යුතුයි. පැරසිටමෝල් වලට උණ අඩු නොවුනත් ඉබියුප්‍රොෆෙන්, ඩික්ලොෆෙනික් සෝඩියම්, මෙෆනමික්, ඇස්ප්‍රින් වැනි ඖෂධ භාවිතා කිරීම ඩෙන්ගු රෝගීන්ට සුදුසු නැහැ.
Back on foreign news, scientists are tracking a new animal-derived virus in eastern China that has infected at least several dozen people. The novel Lagania hepinvirus was found in 35 patients in the Shandong and Henan province. Many had symptoms such as fever, fatigue and a cough. They are thought to have contracted the virus from animals. There is no evidence so far LayV can transmit among humans. Researchers detected the virus predominantly in shrews. The discovery was highlighted in a letter written by researchers from China, Singapore and Australia and published in the New England Journal of Medicine this month. One of the researchers, Wang Linfa from the Dignes Medical School in Singapore, told China's state-run Global Times that the cases of LayV found so far have not been fatal or very serious, so there is no need to panic. The scientists said a LayV was found in 27% of shrews tested, suggesting the mole-like mammals may be natural reservoirs for the virus. About 5% of dogs and 2% of goats also tested positive for it. Taiwan's Center for Disease Control said on last Sunday it was paying close attention to the development of LayV.
Nitish Kumar took oath again as the Chief Minister of Bihar State today, a day after ending an alliance with PM Narendra Modi's Bharatiya Janata Party. Nitish Kumar was in a coalition with the BJP in the northern states since 2017. But yesterday he said he would form a new alliance with other parties including former all-turned-rival Rashtriya Janata Dal. This is the second time in 9 years that Kumar has slipped from the BJP. Today afternoon Kumar was sworn in for the 8th time as the Chief Minister of Bihar. RJD leader Tejwar Jadhav took oath as the Deputy Chief Minister, one of the most influential leaders in the Janata Dal United. Tensions had been brewing in the party's coalition with the BJP for some days after JDU leaders accused for they are only trying to split their party. Nitish Kumar told reporters he had decided to break the alliance after receiving feedback from his party lawmakers, but he has now forged a reputation for breaking partnership with the alliance. Nitish Kumar was a federal minister of the BJP government and former Prime Minister Atal Bihar Vajpayee between 1999 and 2004. But in 2013 he criticized the BJP's decision make Mr. Modi their prime ministerial candidate and ended the alliance.
Now, the war in Ukraine began with Crimea and must end with its liberation, President Vladimir Zelensky said. Ukraine's president was speaking after a string of explosions hit a Russian airbase there, killing one person. Zelensky did not mention yesterday's blasts but said Crimea is Ukrainian and we will never give it up. Russia's defense ministry said ammunition detonated at the base. Meanwhile, Ukraine denied any responsibility for the explosions. In a separate development, Ukrainian officials say 13 people were killed in overnight Russian strikes in the central Dnipropetrovsk region and another one in Sheroshia region in the south. Crimea is internationally recognized as part of Ukraine, but the Black Sea Peninsula was annexed by Russia in 2014 after a referendum which the global community sees as illegitimate.
Prima Kotomi Pantan.
Update, and the former Sri Lankan Test cricket captain Arjuna Ranatunga has been appointed as the chairman of the National Sports Council, and the Sports Minister Roshan Ranasinghe was present at the presentation of the appointment.
The main task of the National Sports Council is to advise the minister in charge on sports-related policies. 14 other members are also functioning in the council. A media briefing to enlighten on the T20 Invitational Cricket Tournament organised by the Sri Lanka Cricket was conducted in Colombo yesterday. 60 national and frontline players are competing in the tournament under 4 groups. All matches are open to spectators. The Nalanda College has won the Battle of Maroons big match against Ananda College after 69 years. Excellent Nalanda cricketer Roshan Mahanama was present at a special ceremony held to celebrate the victory.
And with that, we conclude tonight's news. So tomorrow, at the very same time, I'm Charita signing off with Dulanjali. Stay safe. Good night.
Good night.